Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Omar Eats. In today's episode we're going to be making a roasted eggplant salad with capers and onions, also known in Greek as melitzanosalata me kapari kremmydia. This dish is a recipe that I took from a Greek chef named Diane Kochilas. I found it on her website. Diane is a chef that I really love and enjoy watching. I watch her every Saturday on WTTW PBS, the Chicago affiliate for PBS, where she has a show called My Greek Table, where she goes around to different islands in Greece and introduces food and cuisine from the region and even makes some herself to show the audiences. This particular dish is one that I found on her website and really absolutely loved the way it looked like, and I wanted to try it myself. So in today's video, we're going to be making it together, and I hope you enjoy. So before I begin making the video and cooking for you all, I want to give a few acknowledgments to a few very special people or group of people that help make everything possible. So the very first person that I want to thank and acknowledge is Miss Spinka. In fourth grade actually, I took part in an after-school program that Miss Spinka ran, which was about cooking. We made, every day that we met, we made something different, a different recipe of different cultures and cuisines, and they were all tremendous. Because of that program, my love for cooking and passion really was unlocked and opened up. And I would not be the person that I am today. I would not have the passions that I have today if it wasn't for that program. So thank you so much, Ms. Spinka, for first of all having the program and then also helping me unlock a passion of mine. None of this would be possible without you, so thank you so much. And I also want to acknowledge all of my teachers that I've had throughout my life in Smyser Elementary. All of you played such a crucial aspect of my life and education and future. You all shaped me into the person that I am today, to be able to pursue my passions, to be able to make these types of videos with the ultimate confidence that I have. It's because of you that you unlocked a different human. You took care of me not just as a student but as a person, and that means so much more to me than anything that you can imagine. So thank you so much for not only supporting me what felt like 20 or 16 years ago, whatever it's been, but even supporting me to this day. Thank you so much. You're all wonderful human beings and amazing teachers, and nothing would be possible without any of you. Without further ado, I'm going to start introducing you all to the ingredients that we're going to be making for today's dish. So the first ingredient that we're going to be using for today's salad, and the most essential, is eggplants. You need 3 eggplants of a medium or large size. These are perfect. We're going to be putting them into the oven, letting them roast and bake thoroughly, and scooping up what's on the insides to be part of the salad. If you want kind of a detailed version of how you do that, please go see my video where I made baba ganoush, where the exact same formula was used, but make sure you have eggplants to use. The next set of very essential ingredients that we're going to need are onions and garlic. We're going to be chopping the onions, so you can use one very large onion. I'm using kind of a smaller one. We're going to be chopping these onions to small little pieces, so make sure you have onions. And we're going to have garlic, so fresh garlic is needed as well. We're going to be using about 3 or 4 cloves of it, and we're going to be mincing the garlic or even crushing it into the bowl. The next essential ingredients that we need are tomatoes. You can use one very large tomato, but since I don't have a very large tomato, I'm going to use 2 smaller ones to kind of make up for it. We're going to be dicing these tomatoes, chopping them later on, so make sure you have tomatoes in as well. The next essential ingredient that we're going to need is pickled capers. You're actually going to take some of the pickled capers, rinse them, and put them into the salad later on, so make sure you have some pickled capers as well. The next item that we're going to need is parsley, some fresh parsley that we're going to chop. You only need about a 1/4 cup of it, so not much. We're just going to chop it very, very lightly and put it into the salad at the end. The next set of ingredients that we're going to need for the salad is olive oil and Greek balsamic vinegar. These are pretty essential to the dish as well. So make sure you pick up some olive oil and some Greek balsamic vinegar. We're going to put a little bit of it, each of them, in the salad, and it makes the salad be more flavorful and is very important, so make sure you have these as well. The next ingredient, though not essential and actually not listed as an ingredient that is needed is feta cheese. I'm actually going to take very little feta cheese and crumble it at the very end to use as garnish for the salad. I think it gives the salad a little bit more color and a little bit more flavor as well. So if you want, you can use some feta cheese. And the final thing that is not an ingredient necessarily, but is very essential, is to have a mixing bowl. We're going to be putting all of the different ingredients into the mixing bowl, mixing it in the bowl obviously, and you'll have your salad there ready to go. Now that we're done with the ingredients, it's time to work on the eggplants and roast them in the oven. So the very first thing that we're going to do with the eggplants is poke holes in the eggplants. So you want to take a fork and you simply want to poke holes around. So you want to go a little bit deep and just poke holes in different areas of the eggplant. This will help the pressure to escape when you're cooking the eggplants so they don't burst while in the oven. You just go a little bit around each area of the eggplant and poke some holes in there. So now that we've poked holes into each of the eggplants, we're actually going to transfer it into the oven. Make sure you put broil high on the oven. If you don't have high, obviously use low. And we're going to be really roasting it on each side. You want to make sure that they're roasting equally and that it doesn't burn. If you have a fragrant aroma going around, it means it's going well. This process should take about 30 to 40 minutes. Make sure that each side gets equal time. And when you smell that aroma, when you see it really baked well, you know that it's done. So now that the eggplants are currently roasting, we have to start chopping the onions and all the other ingredients. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a knife. After we've peeled our onion, we're going to go simply right down the middle. Be very careful for your fingers, of course. And we're going to lay them down after we have two halves here. We're going to lay them down like this. And we're simply going to cut at this angle to get them into the smaller pieces. Flip them over at this angle. And we're going to get the dices that we're looking for. As you can see, the small pieces are becoming dicier. And this way they can be chopped easier later down the line. And you're going to do that for both sides, both halves I should say, of the onion. We can get to this a little bit later. And you're simply going to do the same for the other half of the onion. So now that we've cut the onions in half and into smaller pieces, it's time to begin the chopping process. So I'm going to take a big chopping knife like this, and just like my video that I made on tabbouleh, we're going to go very slowly, simply up and down, hand here, hand pushing down here, and we're going to slowly chop. Get them into smaller little pieces that are going to be perfect for the salad. And we're just simply going to keep chopping. Your eyes are going to get watery, you're going to cry a little bit, but trust me, it'll be worth it at the very end because the salad will be delicious and the onions are going to be a big part of that reason. So now you see we've chopped the onions into small little pieces, so we're going to transfer this to a mixing bowl and begin chopping the tomatoes. So now that we finished with the onions, it's time to begin cutting and chopping the tomatoes. So just like the onions, you're going to take the knife, you're going to go halfway and be very gentle because tomatoes are very soft. We're going to flip them to their sides. Let's finish this guy here too. Flip them to its sides. And we're going to do virtually the same thing we did with the onions. Small little, very soft slices here that will be diced this way. And they're going to be a little bit heftier, and that's okay because it's very difficult to cut tomatoes into smaller little pieces. So we're just going to finish it off this way. So here we have the chopped tomatoes. It's going to be a little bit mushy and messy, and that's okay because tomatoes are very juicy and that's natural. So this is done for the most part. We're going to just put it into a mixing bowl later on. Now that we finished this, it's time to begin chopping the parsley. So now that we have the onions and tomatoes done, it's time to start on the parsley. So you're going to take the 1/4 cup of parsley that we have here, a small knife, and we're simply going to just begin by cutting slowly and getting them into smaller pieces before we begin chopping more intensely. As with all produce, make sure that you've washed this thoroughly and rinsed it. This is a little wet, so it's not fully rinsed, but it'll be okay. And we're simply going to cut it into smaller pieces. This will be essential for the salad. And if you want to see a detailed version on how to really chop a parsley, please go see my video on how to make tabbouleh, where I go very in depth on how to chop the parsley. So now that we've finished the parsley and it's chopped very well and finely, we're going to be moving on to the garlic and begin crushing or mincing the garlic. So we have the garlic here. I have 4 cloves of garlic and a garlic crusher in the mix as well. If you don't have a garlic crusher at home or a mortar to use and to be able to mash it together and be able to mince it, please go see my video on how to make baba ganoush, where I show how to mince the garlic and get it mushy and ready for the salad. But nonetheless, I'm going to be using this, simply taking the little clove of garlic and simply crushing it into here and just crushing it out of here, and it will come onto there. So here we have the garlic is crushed into smaller pieces, so we are finished with the garlic. The next step is to take some of those pickled capers and rinse them and drain them for the salad itself. So here we have 1/4 cup of pickled capers that have been rinsed and drained. And now that we are pretty much done with the entire salad as far as all of the other ingredients are concerned, it's time to start checking in on the eggplants and seeing if they are ready. And after they are done and finished, we're going to be scooping up the insides of the eggplants and really putting on the finishing touches of the salad itself. So here we see that they're pretty well cooked on one side. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take a glove, of course, because it's going to be hot, and simply flip them over to the other side. Be very careful, obviously, with your hands. And that's going to be in there for around 15 minutes. So it can cook thoroughly, since it's pretty much cooked very well done right now. Around 15 more minutes on that side, and then we're going to take them out and start making the final stages of the salad. So here we have the eggplants are done and roasted very well. As you can see, they're wrinkled on the skin. So the next step to do, and be very careful because it's still going to be extremely hot, is to take a knife and simply go slowly, try to cut a slit right through. It will be very soft and easy to do, but remember, it's hot. Try to cut a slit through so that it can open up. And we're gonna do that for all of the eggplants. So here we have the eggplants are cut open. As you can see, the insides are cooked very well. There is such an aromatic fragrance to them. And my tip to everyone is that when you want to make dishes with eggplants that need to be roasted, try to do it during the summertime when it's warmer, so you can do it on a charbroiled grill, or charcoal grill I should say, and it's absolutely, the taste is richer than you can imagine. So try to do it then, but today is December, believe it or not, so we have to do it indoors in an oven. But nonetheless, it's time to begin scooping out the inside. So we're going to take a big spoon like this, and we're simply going to scoop up everything on the inside. Remember, it's going to be very hot, so be careful. Remove the seeds before you go, and we're simply going to put it into a mixing bowl that we have here and just scoop out everything that you can get. So now that we've scooped up all of the insides of the eggplants, you can see that the pieces are very chunky. So what we're going to do is, just like we did in my previous video on baba ganoush, we're simply going to break down the pieces here with a knife and cut them until they're smaller, and get these pieces to be as small as we can get them, so that therefore they aren't as chunky and makes the salad a lot easier to consume and be more consistent. So now we have the eggplants are pretty much disintegrated down to as small as we can get them. It's time to put in all the other ingredients that we have prepared for the salad. Here we have our chopped onion. Simply going to put all of that in there. The next thing we have is our chopped parsley. That's going to go in there as well. Next thing we're going to do is put our 1/4 cups of capers. The next thing we're gonna do is put in the chopped tomatoes. Then we're gonna put the minced or crushed garlic. Have to scoop that out with your hands. The next thing we have to do is put the 2 tablespoons of balsamic in the mix that around. Then we're gonna put a ½ cup of olive oil and put that all over the salad. Afterwards, we're gonna look to see if there's any need for any salt or pepper, just to your personal liking. And of course, if you want to have some crumbled pieces of feta cheese in as well, can make the salad a little bit more colorful and add a different sort of flavor to it. But the next step is to mix all of these ingredients together and eat and enjoy our wonderful salad. So here we have it, a roasted eggplant salad with onions and capers. This was very fun to make. It's the first time that I've ever had this dish, so you're gonna see my very first bite. I did put some crumbled pieces of feta cheese on there, some salt and pepper as well, just because I know that I'm going to want to try that anyway. But anyway, let's dig in and see how it is. Wow, that's pretty good. I have to admit, that's pretty good. You can definitely taste the different flavors blending well together. It has a nice rich feeling to it, and it's definitely, I can see why it would be a delicacy for Greek cuisine. But nonetheless, it turned out pretty good, and I hope that the one that you make will turn out even better than mine did. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please share the video if you haven't already. I thoroughly hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for what's next.